Welcome to Lawyer Business Advantage. This podcast is dedicated to helping attorneys earn more money, get better clients, and spend more time with family. I'm your host, Alay and founder of law firm Success Group. Smart business guidance for small law firms begins in 3, 2, 1. It's my pleasure to welcome back to Lawyer Business Advantage, Dominic Grew with Elevate Business Coaching and law firm Success Group. Dom, thanks for being back on.
Not at all. How could I refuse, LA? It's always such a pleasure. We always have good conversations.
We do. The last one came to kind of a natural pause point, which was perfect. And that was last week's episode. This week, we're going to be talking about, what it is really like to compete for talent and the brass tacks of getting out there and hiring. Dom, what are you seeing when you work with, your clients? And our clients tend to be small law firms who are, kind of fighting this war for talent and competing. What are some of the things they're up against?
Yeah, it's funny when I'm talking with my clients and they're so busy and they don't have enough, and I say, well, why don't you just hire more people, right? Or somebody maybe has left and they can't, they say, oh God, it's not easy. You realize how difficult it is in today's market to find talent, and I always say to them, you know what? There are people out there that would love to work for your firm. Your job is to find who they are, right? And what I'm trying to do there is really give them hope, because I actually believe that there are people who would love to work at their firm, but their job is to find them, to be able to connect. And it's a process, but it is totally doable. And sometimes it can seem hopeless. At least I find that with not so much my clients, because I help them with it, but other attorneys that are out there who it's really hard. It's like they're trying to overcome a brick wall.
Yeah, and
it makes staring at it.
It makes total sense, because if you're, as an attorney, you're just thinking you need to hire somebody, and you own a small law firm, your first issue that's like front and center. You mentioned the brick wall. It is very much a brick wall.
Yeah.
How on earth can I get a decent attorney when law firms, 50 times my size can pay them maybe twice as much as what I can afford or more? How am I supposed to get that person on board?
How are you supposed to get that person on board?
Well, I was going to ask you, Dom. How do you
typical coaching? Well, how are you going to do? Well, it does seem that way, like the David and Goliath, but it's not dissimilar to finding your clients, right? It's in some ways it's the same thing. Your job is to find those people, right? And so people come to a law firm. There's usually reasons. Maybe they don't want that big, big sized law firm, right? That's downtown, the big offices, lots of overhead, and a very high hourly rate, right? Just as clients self-select from the marketplace, right? It's the same when it comes to individuals when they're looking for a place to work, right? What's important, what draws them. And there's always, no matter how small you are, there's always things that you can offer that the big, I don't want to say big boys, but larger firms are not able to.
Like what?
What do you think?
We're just going to do this all day.
Back and forth.
So there's a bunch of different things that obviously we can offer. First thing is, we can offer some sense of ownership and just input. Like if you're in a smaller law firm, you're not going to be a cog in the machine grinding out 2,000 hours. You're going to come in as an attorney. You're going to have a large role in all the matters that you're working on. You're going to learn a ton. You're going to work directly with your clients, not through other attorneys to do that. And you'll have a big say in the firm. And that's just to get started.
Yeah. And again, many people I noticed who have, and again, this comes back to my own career journey. I worked at a big firm. I know what it's like. I succeeded. I thrived, right? But there were things I didn't like about it. I did not like the bureaucracy. I didn't like having no control over certain things, where you work on something and somebody comes along and says, "Oh yeah, just stop doing that. We're going in a different direction." And you say, "What?" So smaller firms have a lot of things to offer: different culture, work environment, uh, fun. It's not to say that larger firms don't have fun. Many of them do, but really, uh, you have more control uh, over your work environment and how you want to do things, and that's what a smaller firm offers: less bureaucracy.
Yeah.
And for some people, they don't like that. Maybe if they're new to the, newly minted out of law school, maybe they want that big structure. But I tend to find that folks that have already been there start to look for something else after a certain period of time. And so I guess what my message is there's talent out there. Your job is to find it, and there are people that would actually love to work at a small firm.
There are. And the other, the other thing you have, the other advantage you have is you have flexibility as a law firm owner.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of flexibility that you can offer to your employees. For example, there are so many women and also men who have obligations for kids,
Yeah.
whether it's pick up, drop off, after school activities, what have you. There's a lot of obligations. It makes it very hard for them to hold down, your standard
Mm-hmm.
full-time office position. But
Yes.
they are oftentimes highly educated, super excited to work. It could be a huge benefit to the firm if you're flexible on their schedule.
Yes.
And a large firm may not be willing to do that, but you as a small firm owner can, and you can tap into a market that the other firms have a really hard time tapping into. You can find some amazing people.
Absolutely. You hear there's a lot of conversations about, the legal profession, uh, you know, not being open to certain people, right? And there's no doubt if you are a caregiver or you have kids, that's hard to do. Finding a firm where they embrace that and there's more flexibility over when you do the work means, you know what, taking a break from the job market. You don't necessarily have to do that just because you have children or because you're a caregiver for someone. Why should, especially in a market when you're competing for talent, right? Employers should be more open to that than they've ever been. And small firms are certainly able to tap into that in a way that larger firms aren't able to. There's a price of admission at the large firms, and that's giving up of flexibility in many instances. So you're right.
Yeah. The other thing is geography. For oftentimes for a larger firm, they may have to commute.
Yeah.
In where I live in the San Francisco Bay Area, commutes are oftentimes over an hour. Los Angeles, they're
Hmm.
over an hour and a half. Boston, I think, is very much the same thing,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
these major metro areas have these terrible commute times. But if your office is not in the heart of the city, you can actually, someone can join your firm and their commute time might be, 10-15 minute drive on a back road, for
Yeah.
example, which is so
Right.
much better than
Yeah.
doing that grind into the downtown office.
Yeah, it's so interesting. I'm coming back to the thing of your job is to find those people. I did work recently with a client where we defined. I asked the question, why would anybody want to work at your firm, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they could earn more at a bigger firm, et cetera, et cetera. And we worked through this progress, or sorry, not this one. We worked through the process of defining. Well, it might be open to somebody who doesn't want to work 40 hours a week or doesn't want to build 2,000 hours a year, or they want to work somewhere where it's not a disadvantage to have responsibilities at home, right? And so we built out this list of things that we thought made them different to other their competitors, essentially, right? And after we went through that, they kind of said, "Wow, actually, we have something to offer here, right? We shouldn't feel that we're insignificant, that we need to beg people to come. We actually have some real reasons why people would want to work here. So our job was to find out then, well, how do we find those people?
Yeah.
And so when they came to post the job, it started with, are you the type of person who, you know, doesn't want to spend all their days working, doesn't want to be a slave to the billable hour, wants to be able to, go to their kids' sports, et cetera, et cetera. And that was the hook. so that when it was put out there, you know, whoever looked at it could self-identify and say, you know what, that's me. That's exactly what I'm looking for. It fits the slot, and they actually got a great response from it, even in a tight market. They've had a number of really good candidates, and more importantly, the candidates that they're seeing are really well aligned with what's important to them at their firm,
For sure.
because that's what
Yes.
they were able to attract.
Yeah, I think I know who the client you're talking about, and
Yeah,
because it's a common client of ours.
yeah,
And they obviously, they did a great job with the initial ad. We have a template to start with. We reviewed it, updated it, so it was a collaborative effort, and I'm not surprised that they're crushing it with that ad. Um, Interestingly, when you're looking for talent, there's kind of two sides to this. One is that finding employees is much more challenging than finding clients. All right.
yeah,
That's one thing. The other thing, and that's the downside. The upside is you don't need that many employees. Like you're looking to hire one or two at a time. So you don't need to
yes,
be attractive to everybody. You only need to be attractive to a few people.
yeah. No, that's exactly right. It does take longer. It's a it's a bigger commitment, right? Because that person could be working with you for a very long time, and they have the ability to really impact your firm in a positive way.
Yeah.
But they also have the ability to detract from performance, right? As well. So it's something that's important to get right. And even for your firm is competing for clients as well. Having the right people in there that really show well with your clients can hugely impact your firm and take some of the burden off of how you might feel as the owner of the business when you have a really great team under you that can make decisions, accept responsibility, be empathetic to clients, all the things that you want them need. And it was important to you when you started your firm to have that actually uh, acted out and built into the day to day of the firm is it can really move you forward in terms of how you feel about why am I in business, right? If you're not having to tell everyone
I know.
what you need them to do, they do it automatically because it's just how they're programmed, I
It's
guess.
just it's yeah, it's just they know their job and they're going to go do it because like you and I tell our clients, and I know this is going to sound crazy to attorney entrepreneurs who have not had such a positive experience, but the reason you hire employees is for them to help you. That's it. Like if
Right.
they're not helping you, there's something wrong. So
Yeah.
so keeping that firmly in mind, the more employees you hire, the more resources, whether it's employees or contractors or vendors or what have you, you put in place, the easier your job is supposed to be and the more fun you're supposed to have in your law firm. So if those things are out of alignment, then something has to change. But I think what we've talked about today, Dom, there are so many different things that a law firm owner can do to
Yes.
separate themselves from the competition and win that war for talent. Yeah.
Absolutely. And sometimes people feel, well, I've done everything, right? And I say, well, what have you done? Well, I posted an ad and I did this and I did that, but I've yet to find a client where we haven't been able to, or I've said, you're right, we have exhausted the list. There's always creative ways. In fact, just this week, I was talking with one of my clients, and you know, I asked them like, have you posted it on LinkedIn? And they said, oh yeah, I posted it. And I said, well, like, have you considered maybe, because you're trying to stand out in a crowded marketplace, like, have you considered maybe putting a photograph on LinkedIn of the new office that you have? Or and this may be a little far out for many of the attorney entrepreneurs, but you could put a video in there as well. By the way, we posted we're looking to add to our team, but here's why this is so important and such a great opportunity for the right person, right? And actually, like, just verbally saying exactly what you'd say in the job description, because uh, it's remarkable now how people when they're looking for jobs, right? Many of us are at home on the sofa in the evenings, and we're scrolling through our phone, right? We're probably not going to read stuff. We'll see some video content, right? And we're much more likely, if there's captions on there, we're actually more likely to read that while we're supposedly watching the program or doing whatever, right? So again, if your target market, the type of person you're looking for, is in their 30s or mid 30s, they're going to be looking on social media. So therefore, you should be on social media, and just posting a job ad is probably not enough,
Yeah.
right? You've got
Cool.
to engage. So
Well, in our next episode next week, we're going to dive into the different tactics that
good.
can use. So let's go into more detail on the LinkedIn stuff. That is fantastic, as well as some of the other tricks we have in our toolbox that we can pull out and share that with the audience. So, Dom, once again, based on last week, if people want to reach out to you because you have a fantastic coaching practice for attorneys, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, really simple. LinkedIn is the best place to get me. There's only one Dominic Grew. So just look me up on LinkedIn and reach out. If LinkedIn is not your jam, then you can get me on my website, elevatebusinesscoaching.com.
Awesome. Thanks, Dom, for being on Lawyer Business Advantage.
Thanks a lot.
And that's a wrap for this episode of the Lawyer Business Advantage podcast. One thing that would really help both us and other new potential listeners is for you to rate this show and leave a comment in iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you tune in to listen. And I want to hear from you, so connect with me on LinkedIn and let me know what you think of this episode. And if you are a solo or an owner of a small law firm, and you're looking to earn more money, attract better clients, or reduce your stress, we would love to talk with you to see how we can help. Request your free law firm assessment by visiting lawfirmsuccessgroup.com. Again, that URL is lawfirmsuccessgroup.com. We look forward to talking with you soon. Thank you for listening. My name is Alay and Until next time, remember, you can seize freedom, you can embrace happiness, you can build your perfect practice.